Hello again, friends and loyal Wolfpack members. Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous 2.2.03. Yes, the beta has now gone live. It's been live since about yesterday, but I had to wait until my voice was back to normal because I've been ill recently. So that's why I haven't had any videos up as of late. Thankfully, my voice is feeling a lot better, although I don't want to push it too much. So what we're going to have a look at today is one of the biggest, well, I say biggest, it's one of the changes that will affect the most people, and this is the change to the gimballed weapon tracking. Because if you're unaware, what's going to be happening is, once this little patch goes live, which should be sometime early next year, what Frontier are planning to do is change the way gimballed weapons track. And how they're going to go about doing that is they're going to have it tied to your sensors. So whichever grade of sensors you have, whichever quality you have. So from what I understand it, the lower the rating of sensors you have, so E-rated sensors, your weapons will be tracking less. Now whether that means you're going to be having more jitter on your weapon, or whether your weapon's going to be tracking less of a degree, we're not quite sure yet, because I'm not quite sure what's happening. So what we're going to do is, we've got this ship here, the nice little Eagle, we've got one beam laser fitted to it, and we're just going to go and test it out quickly here at Quent Research Base, just to see what's going on. So we've got this ship, the Eagle here, we're fitted with one beam laser up top, and we're currently fitted with the stock sensors, so 2 E's. So we're going to go out and just see how well this tracks. Now the reason I'm going to be doing this out at Quent Research Base is it's got quite a nice little bit of measuring apparatus installed already. So let's go and check that out, shall we? So here we are, hovering around outside Quent Research Base, and what was I talking about with the bit of measuring apparatus installed here? Well, if you look here, you can see that we are facing 0 degrees on the planet. So we're looking straight north, I believe this is. And what this means is we've got a nice little built-in degree measuring. So what I can do is I can pop out the hard points. What we're currently doing is we're targeting Quent Research Base. So if I turn to one side or the other, you can see the degrees to which I am looking, and you can see as to what point the weapon stops tracking Quent Research Base. So this is quite nice. I'm actually quite happy I thought of this. So what we're going to do is we're just basically going to go and rotate one way or the other. So basically we're going to rotate to the right and just see as to what point that our weapon snaps back pointing forwards. So we can see just at how many degrees this particular weapon goes and tracks to. So we've hit 20 degrees, 21, 22, there we go. So about 22 degrees, there we go. 21, 22 degrees seems to be the maximum tracking arc of this particular sensor set. So that's nice to know. So if we turn back, we can also see there's a fair amount of jitter there. Now I am wondering if when we go for higher rated sensors, will the jitter get less? And also, will we be able to track to a greater angle? I'm not really sure, so let's go and find out. We'll go back into the base. So we'll go and get ourselves landed in the base, and then we'll go and basically upgrade to the next rating of sensors. So we'll go and check out the D-rated sensors. So next we're going to go and move up to the 2D sensors. Now it doesn't seem to say anything here about how much we're going to be able to track by. Would be nice to have some extra little bit of information here, but it doesn't seem that that's part of the game as yet. Obviously we see how far we can go and see, so to speak, with our emission range, but that's about it. So let's go and get this and go and see just how well we go and track now. Back outside again, we can have a look and see that our reticule is still kind of jumping around a fair amount. Now, I'm not sure if this is jumping around more or less than it was previously. It seems like potentially it may be a little bit less, but it's barely noticeable. Now, these are the type of sensors that I usually use in combat on live currently, just because they're a little lighter. But obviously this is possibly going to have to change depending on how much of a difference that we're getting. So let's go and turn over to the side. Let's go and see if we can actually go and beat 22 degrees. So there we go at 21, 22... No, we seem to be tracking exactly to about the same degree. So it seems like the sideways arc of tracking is exactly the same. So is it really just the amount of jitter that we're getting? I guess we're going to have to go and check the rest of the sensors just to be sure. So moving up to the 2Cs. Now, I don't imagine that the class will make much of a difference. It's just the rating, so between E and A. So between Echo and Alpha. I do think that's more going to be the issue. So I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference between the class themselves, like Class 1 to Class 8 or whatever it may be. I don't suppose this really matters what type of ship you're using, it just matters on the quality of them. And back outside again, we can see that the reticule itself, the little dot, is still jumping around, but it does feel to me like it's jumping around a little bit less. Its movements are a little bit less erratic. Now, I'm not sure if that's just in my head, but that's what it seems like. So let's try it again. Let's go all the way to 22 degrees and see if we can go any further. No, it does seem that it still tracks to the same angle, to 22 degrees. Now, I do believe that on live currently, you can track to about 30-35 degrees, so I do think that this has been nerfed slightly. But, yeah, there we go. So 22 degrees, maybe 22.5 is the maximum angle at which you can currently track still. So let's go and try the B and the A just to be certain. Time to try the Bs. And back outside again, we can see that the reticule is still jumping around, but it still, again, doesn't seem like it's quite so erratic. Maybe it's getting a little bit less. I'm not 100% certain on this, but we'll go and see just how far we can go and track. I suspect it'll be 22 degrees again. Yeah, exactly. It's, well, maybe a little bit tiny over, but no. It seems about 22.5 degrees is still the maximum amount of track we get with this. And given that the reticule, I do feel like it's just the amount of jitter that we're getting, but it still seems to be jittering quite a bit. So now, last but by no means least, let's go and check out the A-rated sensors. So now we've got the best sensors that we're going to be able to get on this ship, and back outside again, we can see that the reticule is still jittering. It just doesn't seem, again, it doesn't seem to be as bad as it was. It seems to have its occasional spaz out moments, but they seem to be far fewer. Now, I'm not sure if that's just me, or whether or not that's an actual thing. We'll see. But again, oh, wait a sec. And gotten ourselves recentered, we'll move off and see if it's the same 22 to 22.5 degrees that we track to. Yeah, it seems to be the exact same point. So it seems we can get to around about a little bit over 22 degrees, and that's when things seem to stop. So yeah, it seems like we've got the same amount of tracking, although it just seems that the amount of tracking we get as we had previously is a lot less. Because if I remember rightly, on the live server we can do this to about 35 degrees, around about that area. So at the end of the day, we have had the amount of tracking that we can do to a target, the actual number of degrees worth of tracking reduced from mid-30s to around about 22 degrees. So that's going to make it a little bit more difficult when you're using your gimballed weapons in a turning fight. Now, I know why Frontier are doing this is because they want to basically go and promote more people to go and use fixed weapons, because gimballed weapons, they're pretty much prevalent all over now. They want to kind of balance it out so you'll use each of them. Now, currently, as we are speaking at the moment, there's no changes to turreted weapons at all. Also, the damage to turreted and gimballed weapons have not been affected at all. But I do believe, if I remember correctly, the damage to the fixed weapons has been increased a little bit as well. Basically, fixed weapons are getting a little bit of a buff, and gimballed weapons are getting a little bit of a nerf with just how much they can actually track. So all in all, it's not a massive change, and playing general PvE content, basically just unless you're playing PvP doing fighting against other players, it's not going to be that much of a problem or that much of a noticeable change. But it is going to make combat just a little bit more difficult. But it shouldn't really be by any noticeable degree. So anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video and the look at the different gimbals of weapons. Now, I couldn't really tell much of a difference between the different types of sensors. It did feel like the higher up the rating of the sensor we went, the less jitter we got, but that seems about it. We didn't get any more degrees of tracking, which is what I thought we were going to be getting with this. But maybe it's not working as intended yet, I don't know. I will bring you more information as soon as I get it. But anyway guys, I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Like the video if you've liked it, dislike it if you didn't. You can always comment on the video to let me know what your thoughts are on this. You can also subscribe to the channel or check out any of the videos up on screen. I've been Commander Chaos Wolf, you guys have been epic, I will see you soon. And until next time, my fellow commanders, keep flying and stay shiny.